Here's what I love about this. I have tried for so many months, Emma, to not put these people's names in my mouth, to not talk about them, to hold my tongue, to refrain from talking about it. And as someone who also watches the Majority Report, I actually know you and Sam have taken also great lengths.
Emma Vigeland went on Francesca Fiorentini's show to cope and seethe over Anna Kasparian's recent comments. Both Francesca and Emma do their fair share of coping and seething, and it's pretty entertaining to watch. Let's see them have a meltdown live on air.
Kasparian, again, a co-host at TYT, got very mad and said that I am attacking Cenk and sort of, stood up for the we over there last week.
Francesca Fiorentini is currently attacking you about this as if Donald Trump is unique. He's novel compared to past presidents, certainly a special kind of evil that we've never seen before. In her mind, these are the gulags that she was warning about. But
also never said gulags, a special kind of evil, never said that.
But in fact, this has been a long-standing practice. You can be against that practice, but Donald Trump isn't doing anything new here.
Yeah, so I'm going to address it. I think that the clip that Francesca's using is misleading and totally out of context, but that's okay. But I know that—
No, it's not okay. No, it's not okay. That dishonesty is not okay.
Get me, get me.
Go ahead.
I hear you, I hear you. I don't mean to
but she's getting the likes that she wants, right? Otherwise, I mean, who would pay attention to anything she's doing?
Let's go.
She's not on TYT.
Go, girl. Let's go, Regina.
Anyway, continue, Cenk.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever pay attention to anything I'm doing. This is true. I will, however, say I did hit 100,000 on YouTube before I even invited Cenk on. I've had a very robust career before and after my time at TYT, which I actually enjoyed from time to time. I did. I was at AJ Plus. I worked at MSNBC, had a special there. I worked for National Geographic Channel. I did things for Coachella live stream. Don't kill me. It was a whole thing. It was fun. And now I'm working also with Zeteo. This is fun though, Emma. And so now I wasn't going to say nothing.
Can we pause there for just a sec really briefly
Sure.
so I can just address what she said? So first of all, I appreciate your being very fair. Getting an election prediction wrong to me is different than protecting marginalized people from an incoming president who has basically a far-right agenda. I would say that's a little bit different. But yeah, I was wrong and people clowned on me. I take it on the chin. We're
Yes,
in
you do.
political discourse and debate space. And as long as it's not, I would say, bad faith, I mean, you get that from the right, but if I get it from the left, you got to take it on the chin. It's what I've signed up for. And I only really responded to Anna because I saw that video and you're my friend. She used to be my friend. And if she had been putting out continuously content that I think is making the world better, I would defend her if the roles were reversed and you were saying that about her. But that time has passed. And when she said no one would pay attention to you if you weren't shit-talking TYT, that got me really angry because a lot of us are really, I consider myself extremely lucky that I lucked into an internship with TYT and I was able to work up at the company again for little pay as I've talked about, and I know you've experienced, a lot of other people have as well. I was able to live at home during that period and save up and, live at my mom's house, who she's now bringing into this debate for no reason, because of private conversations that we've had. But I just feel like you are so talented, and Michael Brooks passed away, and there was a spot open, horrifically, a spot open for me at the Majority Report. I was lucky.
Sure.
I could be in a different industry if that didn't happen. you have had sometimes bad luck, like with AJ Plus and stuff. I mean, it's
No,
just,
I really didn't actually. I just am allergic to money, Emma. Just don't worry about it. I
well,
left
I'm
AJ
just trying to
Plus.
say
AJ
is
Plus
you're so
offered me.
deserving, and it's
AJ
just,
Plus
it's,
offered me in 2018 when they were moving to DC a very handsome salary that I turned down because I had been there for, at that point, 4 years, and I wanted to move on, and I wanted to move to LA. So that's what happened to me. And I moved to LA not for TYT. I moved to LA to actually like pitch more shows, do more comedy, meet more people, get managers and agents and whatnot. And I did. So that is, I've had a lot of luck, and I've also turned a lot of shit down. So I just want to name that. But I really, here's what I love
Fair
about
enough.
this. Here's what I love about this. I have tried for so many months, Emma, to not put these people's names in my mouth. To not talk about them, to hold my tongue, to refrain from talking about it. And as someone who also watches the Majority Report, I actually know you and Sam have taken also great lengths, but that the broader left audiences on platforms like YouTube and elsewhere are distraught. They are upset. They see the coverage of crime and homelessness and blaming fires on, some unhoused guy that totally turned out to be false, and the Aurora, Colorado, gang takeover, and the DEI when talking about the FAA and the crash recently, on and on and on to the cozying up to Trump. And they are upset and they are livid. And so what I decided to do was to talk to Cenk. And to be full disclosure, Anna also agreed to talk to me. However, she had a family emergency. And I said, dude, you take care of that. Do not come on my show. I wish you the best. Good luck with that. And that week she went on Glenn Beck's show. So anyway, be that as it may, I don't think I'm going to be getting her back on the show. But the reason, I just want to thank you because you cut strays for me, speaking of making it super personal. But I just want to say,
if you enjoy content like this, smash that like button. Consider giving my channel a subscribe. Let's continue.
None of this is personal with TYT. None of it is. It's like, it truly, for me, I think Anna and I have been like friendly, we took a hike a couple times, but none of it was personal. It's always about the politics for me. And it gotten to the place, which honestly, I really do still welcome her to actually hear her out. But because I want to know, why are we covering things like this? Why are we talking about things like this? Why are we focusing on these small granules that miss the forest for the trees? Is it because ultimately you've never been a progressive? Is it because ultimately you are kind of a centrist? That you might be left on certain issues like corruption or, capitalism and whatnot. Although, Cenk, TBD on union rights. But that ultimately, when it comes to things like unhoused people, crime, you believe the right-wing narrative. When it comes to undocumented people, you believe that you should plaster the face of an undocumented mentally ill man who was falsely accused of starting a fire, the Kenneth fire, which was not the Palisades fire or the Eaton fire, in the middle of this wildfire. You believe in plastering that person's face on your Chiron, and when he has not been charged, and blame homeless people like crazy ass Mel Gibson. That is a political
to these lefties, like, people can't change their views. Like, people can't grow and change. With Anna, I mean, if you go back to like 2016, for instance, there's this legendary rant where she was upset because, women voted for Trump and stuff. And she told MAGA women, I'm effing better than you. You're damn right. I am better than you. She was straight up telling a group of people that she was better than them because she voted for the Democrats. Now you have Anna, who is a little bit more reasonable, who actually can listen to an opposing view without flipping out or going crazy over it, that doesn't think that the other side is just a bunch of terrible people. She could actually hear the other arguments. She actually sees the other arguments and sees that, hey, there is something going on over here. She has personal experiences that have led up to this. And so, yeah, listen, is she a right-winger? No, she's not. But to say, well, then maybe you were never a progressive. Well, no, I think she was a progressive. But then she saw that this progressive ideology that Francesca and Emma here continue to promote just doesn't work. It's just not a good outlook to have in the world. Right here, she's chastising Anna for showing a homeless person that I guess they were saying started the LA fires. And I guess, it's not true. And yes, I agree. Like, you should be careful of putting people's pictures, names up and saying, well, this is them or it could be them or something. I agree that people should be careful in general. The left isn't above doing this. They've done it themselves. They've reported people to be racist or doing something racist. And then later on comes out, oh, no, actually, that's not what happened at all. So for her to chastise Anna for doing that, it's silly. We shouldn't listen to her. But two, she's acting like homeless people never do anything wrong. Like, it's impossible that a homeless person could have started that fire. No way could it have not happened. The left have their groups of people that they always have to protect no matter what and defend no matter what. What do you guys think about that so far? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying so far. Let's continue.
This is not personal, and it sure as shit is not about clicks, because let me say, the amount that I could say and choose not to, when both she and, let's bring the cart back in, and Jank are on a little bit of a war path against every single person they used to work with, that we know, that we love, that we like.
Yeah.
David Dole, for example.
Yeah.
Mike Figueredo, like all these other people, to say nothing of former employees. It's really, really sad.
Jank and Anna aren't just on a war path. They didn't just wake up one day and were like, I'm going to go off on Emma and Francesca and all these other people that Francesca just listed. No, Anna declared that she's leaving the left because, she no longer sees things through this leftist perspective. And she got scrutinized and villainized for it by these people here. And they attacked her for it. Same thing with Jank. I mean, Jank, after going to the Turning Point USA thing, he's had to make his apology tour on all of these shows, going on all these lefty shows. Some of them I've covered on this channel, pretty much having to explain himself for daring to go on Turning Point USA. You have right-wingers going on lefty shows all the time, and you never see this, like, why did you do this? You never have to see them going on all these shows answering for the crime they committed on going to the opposing view show. But with the left here, by Jank going on Turning Point USA, and by the way, I don't even think Jank fully agreed with everything Charlie Kirk had to say on the stage there or anything like that. But by him being there and even entertaining some of these ideas that these evil right-wingers do, he then had to go on all these shows and pretty much explain himself to all these lefties here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to chew on there. I will even say we try to avoid it as well. I mean, we clip everything. Perhaps they were upset about the fact that it was clipped when we had an IM or a call in. But, at the end of the day, as I was saying, they're adults. We're in the political debate and discourse space, and you've got to be able to take the heat and have the better argument. And based on their view counts, it doesn't seem like people think that they have the better argument anymore. So they choose to go after people on Twitter for engagement. And as you say, I, of course, could use information that I know from my personal relationship with Anna and friendship, where we would have many calls and conversations. I could have chosen to use that stuff against her. I chose not to. She doesn't seem to have those scruples, but she distorted things about my life. The fact that my parents were lawyers and I grew up with some privilege to make a claim that I don't have to work for a living. The end of that, like, I am privileged in the sense of, like, I don't know if I would be able to have engaged with these ideas at such a young age, because this was an interest that developed when I was young, if I didn't have this incredible education that I wish everyone had access to, or if I didn't have the comfort to be able to exchange in these ideas and not have to worry about, like...
She said education. I think she meant indoctrination.
Food on my table.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where it ends, because ever since I've left my parents' house, I am making my own money.
The answer is you're not a lawyer.
Paying my own bills. I chose not to be a lawyer. I chose to make this career. So
what you're trying to say is you're a class trader, and we kind of love you harder for that. And I think,
well, Yeah, and like the way my sister's a lawyer, the way she lives very different than the way I live now. Well, she just started. Congrats to her, but it's like, I'm really proud of her, right? And I could have gone down that road too, and but I chose not to, and I, don't make as much money because of it. And my parents, they did well. They don't have the means to support me for the rest of my life. Like the amount of money that she describes there it's just a lie. And I
Yeah.
think she's probably distorting a conversation we had where I said I could have gone to law school and made a lot of money and not had to work for the rest of my life. That's something I would say.
Right.
But I don't even want to get into it because
No.
she discredited herself by claiming falsely right below that in this Twitter storm she was having well into the late hours of Saturday night, even on her time, that the Majority Report did paid ads for the Harris campaign, which is like, frankly, defamatory. I mean, it's if you want to go down that road, that never happened or ever having had close to, it was never close to happening, and we would never do that. And people would probably notice if we did ads. So I was making a joke that like we did it in code, but it just is. It's bizarre to use, and I knew it was a matter of time because of how desperate and unhappy she seems that she was going to use our private conversations for her own ends. But again, I hate making it about myself. I don't talk about my family life. I try not to. I don't mention my fiance's name publicly. I try not to say my friends' names publicly.
Matt Lee.
I take my privacy extremely seriously. And she knew that, but she still chose to put me on blast anyway because it feeds into an existing right-wing meme about who I am. But I got to stop talking about myself because it's really about them. Sorry, Francesca.
No. I mean, you didn't need to do all that, but it's fine that you did because again, it was you were personally attacked by her. I'm not going to throw up the tweet, but to continue a little bit and to close, I think the other thing that's very revelatory for me and has been very upsetting, and the reason why I asked her to come on the show is because Cenk came on the show, and even though he had been making the rounds on right-wing outlets, Patrick Bet-David, and going, on to the TPUSA conference and wanting to have a beer with Charlie Kirk, he did come on my show. He did go on Mark Lamont Hill shows. He went on Brian Tyler Cohen's show. He actually faced some supposed, some leftists, some progressives. And instead, we have smatterings of where Anna's been over the last 6 months to a year to longer than that. She's been making the rounds on right-wing news with, obviously, these are obviously thumbnails. So I'm not saying this is exactly what she said, but she does make the argument that the left is the biggest problem and that they are the ones who've made her leave the left. What I got wrong with Glenn Beck, how the left is alienating its own people with Chris Williamson, who's sort of, again, standard YouTube, mass account. Why I left the left with some, what did that health influencer Jillian lady? Obviously, got to go on Piers Morgan. Dems made a deal with the devil. Anna Kasparian slams her old party. Anna on why she's calling out the lack of self-reflection by the Dem side of the left with Megyn Kelly. I don't have a problem with calling out the lack of self-reflection from the left. I don't have a problem with talking about purity politics. I don't have a problem with talking even about some of the issues that, again, she thinks are, intractable, like, again, crime stats being up when they're actually not. Homelessness. It's like, well, what do we do? All these Dems are just getting their hands in the pile of homelessness services. And that's why, I am for homelessness services, but these Democrats, that's why I'm voting for Rick Caruso. I'm telling you, it's okay to have these conversations.
Is it okay to have these conversations? Would Anna be able to go on your show and have these good faith conversations, by the way, with you guys on this stuff? What's the point of her going on your shows? We all know that you're just going to deny. It's a waste of time. It's not going to be a productive conversation. You're already right here. You're already arguing with her points that she hasn't even gone on her show and on your show and made yet. With the homelessness thing, California, we've put aside millions of dollars to try to help the homeless. The homeless problem is still going up here in California. Who's in charge here in California? The Democrats. Where is all that money going? Why is homeless still going up if we're just pouring all this money into trying to help the homelessness? That's not a lie. No lies there. It's as if you're like, oh, and are you willing to have a good faith conversation about how the left pushes away people or how they're always doing purity testing? Again, look how you guys treat Anna and Cenk just for saying something that's outside of what you guys believe in.
You are having them shows a lot about not
Right.
just your ideology, but your willingness to sell your former colleagues down the river and the broader movement as a whole because they're using you. They're using you. And are you cool with being used like that?
Well, I think
Yes.
it's obvious. I think that clearly, I mean, she's not on the left anymore, right? She's like unassociated or something, as like the announcement that she made. And so I don't understand why she has to keep pretending if she isn't doing what Dave Rubin, what other Why I Left the Left people have done in the past, which is essentially elevating your profile and going on these right-wing shows while validating all of their talking points and saying that you're representative of the left when you're not. I mean, Piers Morgan does this all the time on his show where he says he's
Yes.
a liberal and then he says the
I'm
furthest
basically a
right.
liberal.
Right. It's a very, very lucrative way to operate in media. It's short. The shelf life is not great, and you may cash in. Like Dave Rubin has made millions, but his views don't do that well because he had to eventually admit he was a conservative and not the last liberal. So she's going
right.
down that path, it seems.
They were like, ew, why are you still gay then?
Yeah,
It's like, damn
yeah.
it.
But you know, what's upsetting is like I wanted TYT to succeed, and you know, I want to try to find a way to elevate all these other leftist channels. They're doing such great work because this isn't a competitive thing. For me, this is a collaborative thing,
Yes.
and I really do want I wanted and believed in. That's why I wanted to work there and why I looked up to Cenk my whole life. The idea of a left-wing network that would
She's looked up to Cenk her whole life? Well, that's her first problem right there. Yeah, while these other girls, they had Backstreet Boys posters on their walls, I had Cenk Uygur on my wall. So listen, it was fun. It's fun listening to these ladies cope and seethe over Anna's reaction. But let's be honest here, that's all this is. This is coping and seething. They're not looking to have any good faith conversations with Anna or anybody that even slightly disagrees with them. They are further proof that they and their ideology, the leftist ideology, is the problem. And it's clear that they're not going to learn their lesson, and they never will learn their lesson. They're going to keep doing the same things, using the same tactics, pushing the same stuff, and they're going to keep losing more and more people. They've already lost a ton of people. That's why we were able to win this last election. And it seems like they're not learning. It seems like they're going to keep losing more and more, which I'm completely fine with, because the more people we lose, the faster that ideology dies. And that ideology, that leftist, that progressive ideology, needs to die. But what do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed today's video. And if you did enjoy today's video, if you like seeing Francesca Fiorentini and Emma Vigeland look dumb and stupid and ridiculous, I got more videos for you to watch and binge.